On July 3, 1988, a United States Navy captain named Will Rogers III, standing inside the darkened Combat Information Center of USS Vincennes, had exactly 3 minutes to make the most consequential decision of his life. His radar showed an aircraft climbing out of Iranian airspace across the Strait of Hormuz. His crew called it descending. His system classified the contact as a potential Iranian F-14 Tomcat fighter on a direct attack vector toward his ship. It was Iran Air Flight 655, a commercial Airbus A300 carrying 290 civilians on a routine scheduled flight from Bandar Abbas to Dubai, including 66 children who would never land. He had 3 minutes to decide whether it was a fighter or an airliner. He fired 2 surface-to-air missiles. Every single person on board died. That captain was never court-martialed. He was never disciplined. He received no punishment of any kind from the United States military. In fact, he was awarded the Legion of Merit for exceptionally meritorious conduct. Because under the United States Navy's rules of engagement, Captain Rogers followed the protocol exactly as written. He did precisely what the system instructed him to do within the legally defined decision window. He just killed 290 people doing it. The United States paid $61.8 million in compensation and never formally apologized. It never rewrote the 3-minute logic that produced the decision, because the alternative would have meant accepting the risk that Iranian jets could reach American warships before a response could be launched. The 3-minute rule was not an accident. It was a calculated trade-off between 2 different kinds of catastrophe. That trade-off was made in 1988. Today, in the summer of 2026, the United States has 18 warships and 10,000 sailors operating in the same 33-kilometer-wide stretch of water between Iran and Oman, under rules of engagement that have not been fundamentally redesigned since the day USS Vincennes launched those 2 missiles. The same 3-minute window still exists. The same decision still falls on the shoulders of one man inside one darkened combat information center. And the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has spent every single year since 1988 studying exactly how to make that window as dangerous, as ambiguous, and as exploitable as it has ever been. If you have a family member in the United States military right now, there is a real chance they are in the Persian Gulf tonight. If you pay taxes in America, you are funding those 18 warships and the consequences of whatever those sailors decide in their next 3-minute window. And if you fill a gas tank or hold a retirement account, the decisions being made on radar-lit bridges in the dark will determine whether your financial reality gets more stable or more catastrophic than anything you lived through in 2008. Here is the question the United States Navy has no clean answer to. How do you prevent 10,000 American sailors operating under a shoot-or-die protocol measured in minutes from accidentally starting a war that kills millions, permanently closes the channel through which 20% of the world's daily oil supply flows, and sends crude to $200 a barrel, when the adversary has spent 35 years engineering its entire naval doctrine around making that 3-minute window impossible to navigate without catastrophic error? Let us start with the mechanism itself. When a United States Navy warship detects a potential threat, an aircraft approaching at speed, a fast boat on an intercept course, an unidentified contact behaving aggressively, the commanding officer enters a formal decision cycle. He receives threat data, requests identification, assesses the track, and makes a decision. In practice, given the speed of the weapons Iran deploys in this theater, that entire cycle has approximately 3 minutes before the ship has absorbed whatever is coming. This is not an accident of procedure. It is a deliberate choice. A Chinese-built C-802 anti-ship missile, the same model Iran used to hit an Israeli warship in 2006, covers 30 kilometers in approximately 90 seconds. A supersonic variant crosses the same distance in under a minute. A small boat packed with explosives can close from visual range to detonation distance in under 3 minutes at full throttle. Waiting past the decision point means the threat has already arrived. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Navy has known these physics since 1988. They have read every analysis of the Vincennes incident published in the decades since. They have studied every American doctrine document available. And over 35 years, the Guard built its entire Gulf strategy around one central insight. The 3-minute window is not just a constraint on American captains. It is a weapon that Iran can use against the United States without ever firing first. The mechanism through which this works is called swarm tactics. Rather than confronting a U.S. warship with one fast boat, the IRGC sends 50 small vessels simultaneously from multiple compass bearings, all closing at the same speed, all within the same 3-minute window. Some carry explosive charges powerful enough to sink a destroyer. Some carry rocket-propelled grenade launchers. Most carry nothing at all. Not one bears any external marking that allows a targeting system or a human officer to distinguish the armed ones from the unarmed at a distance. The mathematics of this tactic are designed to be paralyzing. If the captain fires on all 50, he kills Iranian fishermen in the same formation and hands Iran a diplomatic victory. If he waits to identify the armed contacts, he may absorb a catastrophic hit from the boats he hesitated on. There is no third option. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard designed this tactic specifically to ensure that no third option exists. Now consider what happened on January 9, 2016, in the northern Persian Gulf. 2 U.S. Navy patrol boats carrying 10 American sailors lost navigation capability and drifted into Iranian territorial waters near Farsi Island. IRGC vessels intercepted them within 15 minutes. Iranian sailors boarded the American boats, filmed the sailors on their knees with hands behind their heads, and broadcast that footage on state television within hours. The sailors were released the following morning. No shots were fired. The incident lasted less than 24 hours. What almost nobody reported was what was happening inside the combat information centers of American warships within strike range during those 3 hours. U.S. commanders had real-time confirmation that their sailors were held at gunpoint. They had legal authority and enough firepower to destroy every IRGC vessel in the northern Gulf in under 30 minutes. And somewhere in that command chain, human beings made the decision not to fire. That decision prevented a war. It required the same 3-minute logic and incomplete human judgment that killed 290 civilians on Iran Air Flight 655. The only difference was the outcome. And history will do so again. The current tactical environment in the Strait of Hormuz is more dangerous than January 2016 in every measurable dimension. There are more American warships in the water and more IRGC vessels deployed. Thousands of Iranian naval mines have been laid across the strait, and an unknown number have drifted to locations appearing on no American navigator's chart. The ceasefire has already collapsed once in the 6-hour reversal the world watched on April 17th. The IRGC has publicly demonstrated it does not consider itself bound by agreements made by Iran's civilian foreign ministry, and the faction that controls the boats and the mines has every institutional reason to want this confrontation to continue. Here is the detail that restructures everything. The commanding officer of a United States Navy warship in the Persian Gulf does not require authorization from Washington to fire in self-defense. He does not need a call from Donald Trump. He does not need the Secretary of Defense on an encrypted line. Under inherent self-defense provisions, a ship's captain has unilateral authority to protect his vessel from imminent threat. One American officer in one combat information center staring at a radar picture showing 40 IRGC contacts on converging headings can initiate a response that commits the United States military to a state of armed conflict with Iran. That officer is almost certainly in his early 40s. He has been awake for 18 continuous hours. His crew is exhausted. The mines beneath his hull are uncharted. The intelligence picture is contradictory. The ceasefire is structurally failing, and the clock is running. Donald Trump and his national security team understand this trap. The blockade must continue. It is the only leverage capable of forcing change in Iranian behavior before the regime's oil fields shut down. But it requires warships to operate continuously in exactly the conditions that generate 3-minute emergencies. Every additional day increases the probability that one captain makes the decision that ends the ceasefire. There is only a version of this strategy that manages the risk and waits. The United States Navy is deploying every tool it possesses inside that 3-minute window. Underwater drones scan for mines. AI classification systems give commanders identification data faster than any human operator. Seahawk helicopter patrols carry night vision sensors to distinguish armed from unarmed craft. Every detection technology the American defense industry has produced is operational in the Persian Gulf right now. But technology does not resolve the fundamental problem, because the problem was never technological. The IRGC swarm tactic is a legal and moral challenge dressed in military clothing. No targeting algorithm absorbs the political consequences of killing 40 Iranian fishermen because they were in the same formation as 10 IRGC attack boats. No software update revises the rules of engagement. No AI system carries the weight of the decision or the accountability for its outcome. That decision still belongs to a human being. It still requires 3 minutes. And it still offers no clean option. So here is the question that defines this moment. The most powerful navy ever assembled is operating in a channel 33 kilometers wide against an adversary that has spent 35 years building one tactical doctrine designed to make that power useless in a 3-minute window. One decision by one American captain can trigger a conflict that closes the strait permanently, sends oil to $200 a barrel, and pulls the United States into the largest military engagement since World War II. The only barrier between that outcome and the morning you read about it on your phone is the judgment of a tired Navy captain on a radar-lit bridge in the dark, with 3 minutes on the clock and no clean options on the table. Is America one radar contact away from the war nobody planned? Or does naval discipline mean the system holds no matter how hard Iran pushes it? Write where you stand in the comments, because both sides have a point that only the strait will eventually settle.